Dynamic Canvas Studio is an exciting new addition to our platform. And what it does is allows a creative developer to very visually and easily develop many different versions of a creative from a single master file. So the nice thing is the master file can be developed in their favorite creative tool. So for example, any of the Adobe Creative Suite, Animate, Edge, After Effects, or Google Web Designer, or really any HTML5 authoring tool. And using a very visual interface, they can upload the master, generate many different versions of it without actually manually having to produce each version of the creative. The reason it matters is oftentimes creative developers have to do the rather mundane task of taking a creative and, for example, just changing the product image to different packagings of the product, or the copy lines to different languages, etc. And that's very time-consuming, laborious work, and also quite expensive for brands to pay for all that work. So why it matters is this Dynamic Canvas Studio automates that process. So you can have a master design that you upload into the visual interface, and you can very quickly swap out product images and copy lines and so on. And then you can even hook it up to a feed, for example, an e-commerce feed from the site, and produce thousands and hundreds of thousands of versions very, very quickly and easily without having to manually develop each version of the creative. I'm excited about it because it is a true breakthrough for creative developers. So traditionally, creative developers either had to learn an entirely new creative development tool, which meant they had to abandon their tools that they loved, like the Adobe Creative Tools or other HTML5 authoring tools, or they loved to custom code their creative. So they had to abandon that and essentially adopt a DCO platform's creative tool. What I think is exciting about this is they can actually have the best of both worlds. They can develop their creative in whatever tools they're familiar with. And Dynamic Canvas Studio essentially imports that creative, but allows them to easily version the creative and create thousands of versions very quickly and very cost effectively. So that's a breakthrough and very exciting for creative developers. So this is an exciting addition to the Jivox personalization platform because many DCO projects ultimately just start with how do you version your creative, and then you can tie it to data and decisioning and scale it across channels and so on and so forth. But it all starts with the creative. So this addition to the Jivox personalization platform allows you to really quickly and easily version the creative, and also allows it to be scaled. For example, even if you have thousands or tens of thousands of product images and offers and copy lines and so on, it scales extraordinarily well. And yet you can start with a visual interface to see what your creative is going to look like with a few representative samples of copy and so on before you launch it with the thousands or tens of thousands of creative versions using the rest of the platform.